Hello one and all, this is SharnOfTheDEAD here with what was originally a top 10 Horde/Survival video. However, I had a change of heart and I've increased it to 15. Keep in mind that the first 5 are something extra which I added just because I didn't want to leave them out. So, sit back, grab a snack and enjoy the top 15 Horde survival modes in gaming. At number 15, we have Red Faction Armageddon's Infestation mode. In Infestation, you play as a team of 4 fighting for survival through waves of deadly aliens with an array of devastating weaponry. You can upgrade your character to use abilities to rip apart your foes. It's certainly a fun shooter for an extra bonus. However, some of the levels are a little dark and it's hard to see what you're actually shooting at, but nevertheless, you can find this game for about under a tenner, so it's worth a shot if you're looking for something new to play.
Welcome to the Crucible!
At 14, it's a dice with death as we enter the Crucible in Darksiders 2. A bonus challenge arena with 100 waves of enemies for you to sink your scythe into. The Crucible is built with 10 round intervals, so every 10 rounds you can opt out for a chance for some equipment, or carry on for a greater award to gear up death and arm him to the teeth. It's not for the faint-hearted and offers a real challenge for those seeking it, and plenty of decent loot along the way, ending with a boss battle. You don't get any XP for killing enemies in the Crucible, so if you're struggling you might have to come back later. You'll spend hours optimising death with various equipment to make it to the end. It certainly is fun choosing to gamble and try and push forward for a decent prize and just making it to the end of the wave and bagging yourself some decent equipment. It's not that fun though when you die. Usually ends in disappointment and tears. At number 13, it isn't that unlucky when it's a game that involves blowing up everything like Rambo. Toy Soldiers Cold War is a tower defense game where you need to stop those pesky toy Russians entering your beloved toy box. The sequel to Signal Studios' World War I tower defense game is bigger, better and more explosiver, if that's a word. There's numerous power-ups that you can use such as artillery barrages, AC-130s, nukes and even a Rambo style toy armed with a machine gun and a rocket launcher.
We're sending you our best man!
There's even vehicles you can use such as Apaches, jets and tanks. The main idea is setting up defences such as gun nests and artillery to destroy the onslaught of enemies. This earns you points which you can spend on upgrades. There's also an online co-op where you can work together to hold out for as long as possible. Toy Soldiers Cold War is a must-own arcade title for those who love fun and challenging tower defence games. At number 12, we have a Horde mode I was hoping to see in Battlefield 3, but sadly to no avail. Yes, this is Battlefield Bad Company 2's Onslaught mode, a mode that have been brutally awesome on the Frostbite 2 engine. However, Battlefield Bad Company 2 is still a damn good game, and it has plenty going for it. Even the Vietnam expansion was awesome. Onslaught is again your typical 4-player co-op mode against overwhelming odds as you work as a team to survive, killing troops, tanks and helicopters. You fight to take objectives along the way under intense fire. In a word or two, it's bloody awesome. Just please be in Battlefield 4. Please. Here we are at number 11. And it's nothing more than the most insane, craziest shooter to grace us in the last few years. Bulletstorm. Possibly one of the most underrated FPS games to grace our bloodthirsty hands, and with no sequel in sight, it should be cherished like a fine wine. Bulletstorm had everything from crazy weapons to crazy deaths, a kick-ass ball-busting campaign, and a very interesting co-op mode called Anarchy. Anarchy was a mode where you and 3 others could work together to fight, survive and to kill with skill. Spending points on upgrades and weapons after each round, you had to work together to accomplish objectives, such as performing a certain kill. This called for a lot of teamwork and planning. If you screw up, you had to restart. Each round gets even more harder and complicated. The level design was sadistic with a variety of ways to impale, crush and disembowel enemies. You can pick up Bulletstorm extremely cheap too. I found a copy priced at 98 pence. However, Bulletstorm holds a special place in my heart. It was an FPS that was fun, mental, but most of all, it was different. Kicking off at number 10 is Dawn of War's Last Stand. Available on PC, this cooperative mode has you team up with 2 others to survive 20 rounds of overwhelming odds. You can select a variety of characters to play as, and you can play to earn XP that unlocks new abilities and new gear. It's only a small mode in itself, but it keeps you playing and trying out new tactics to conquer all 20 levels. At number 9, we have an arcade title, Dungeon Defenders. Available on PlayStation, Xbox and PC, this is purely a wave defense game. You can choose 4 different characters, and even more available on PC. You can level up and increase your character's powers to use their unique abilities to survive each wave. There's also a ton of loot to collect which can be used to upgrade or be sold for better items. Each campaign level comes with a variety of difficulties, which increase reward and even have an option for survival too. Dungeon Defenders is certainly a must-own game if you're a fan of tower defense and survival modes. Number 8 is another arcade title available on PC. It's Orcs Must Die 2, which sadly didn't see a console release, but it is still a decent game to have on your PC. Orcs Must Die is all about survival, laying down devious traps to kill those pesky orcs, while trying to stop them entering the portal. There's 2 characters to choose from, and there's co-op online play. The game also comes with a variety of difficulties, and of course, survival modes for each level. Another game based on your wits and strategy. Orcs Must Die 2 will keep you playing for hours. The Undead is knocking on the door at number 7. It's Resident Evil's very own Mercenary mode. A mode that first appeared in Resident Evil 3, which had unlockable characters and their own weapons, in which you had to fight to survive past deadly enemies against a timer to get to the objective. I nearly made it once, but my head got ripped off by a hunter. There's also a few minigame spin-offs in the past games too. Resident Evil 2 you could play as Hunk, or Tofu. But Mercenaries was the real deal. Since then, Mercenary mode has expanded and featured in Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6, 6 being the most recent. It gives an increasingly hard challenge, where you try and keep the timer going, but at the same time try and stay alive. The reward? More characters, levels, and kinky costumes. At number 6 we have an Aliens game. Nope, it's not Colonial Marines, but in fact it's Alien vs Predator. Yes, this had its very own survival mode, which rocked, where you had 4 Marines fight to survive for as long as possible from constant Xeno attack. The levels were cramped and small, and they were literally coming out of the walls. There was also some DLC that added extra levels, and you can pick up this game for just under a tenner, so it might be worth a look. Colonial Marines, however, doesn't have this mode. They want you to spend 1200 points for the pleasure to get the game mode Bug Hunt. Shame really. Last I heard there was a big bonfire where all the games were sent where they belong. Hell. I hope you're happy, Gearbox.
Hello my baby, hello my honey, hello my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
At number 5, well, let's just say this is the other Call of Duty game on the list. Yes, it's Modern Warfare 3. It had its very own share of survival modes, which could be played solo or co-op. And those that dared to stray away from the multiplayer and try it might have enjoyed it. However, that's just one mode. They also released a brand new game mode which played as a super adrenaline score tank mode. I spent hours playing. Sadly, it was only playable on a handful of maps, but it became an arcade shooter blast from the past, frantically switching weapons, keeping the timer going, killing hundreds of enemies, from soldiers to dogs to bloody juggernauts. It quickly became a fan favourite. Eventually you will get overwhelmed and die, however it's all about getting the best score. You can also bring a friend along and yell at each other as you slowly get ripped apart by the never-ending swarm of enemies. Possibly one of the best DLC releases that Modern Warfare 3 ever had. Okay, well, steamrolling its way into number 4 is Halo's very own Firefight. Firefight first appeared in ODST, which I wasn't familiar with at the time, but once Reach arrived, it's all I played. It was a mode I spent half my life in, and the other half wondering why the hell it wasn't in Halo 4. I literally love this game mode. I've never been a fan of Halo, and I only play online now and then, but Firefight is a game mode I loved, fighting for extraction using an arsenal of weapons and even rules like rockets only. It just made the game more fun. It was simple, but most of all, fun. Tons of fun. Well, there's no surprises for guessing number 3. Call of Duty's Nazi Zombies. Yes, I couldn't have made a survival list without this game. Loved by many, the game mode first appeared on World at War, then got bigger and better. Now it's in Black Ops 2, and yes, it is bigger and better than ever. With a bus that takes you from A to Z, where you and 3 others can arm yourselves with whatever you can get your hands on. You can even play online against 4 other people in a mode called Aggro. The maps are renowned for having complicated Easter eggs that take an unbelievable amount of time to do. There's also a plenty maps added through DLC, or you could just pop in your old Black Ops disc and play the originals. Personally, I could never really get into it. I'd be lucky to get past round 5. The bloody weapon box always gives me a damn pistol or a teddy, and I'm always the first to die. However, it doesn't stop it from being in my top 3. Number 2, it's got more beef than a field of cows. Gears of War's Horde mode. Yes, simply called Horde and appeared in Gears of War 2, this really got its fan base. Then in Gears of War's third outing, it got bigger and better. 50 waves of hell, with a boss on every 10th level. You can have up to 5 players and set up defences which could also be upgraded, then hold out as long as you can. Epic moments are everywhere as you work together to kill 2 Brumacs, or Berserkers, or whatever comes after you. It's a treat. There's also a Beast mode which turns the tables, but it's not as good as Horde mode. Also, Gears of Judgment is on the horizon, which has its own survival mode. This features 10 waves, which includes objectives, random spawns, and different classes for you and your team to master and fight your way through. And finally, my number 1 Horde survival game is Mass Effect 3. Without a doubt, this has to be my all-time favourite co-op multiplayer. Those who turned their noses simply missed out, and they're pretty stupid. This has to be one of the most in-depth, enjoyable and challenging experiences I've ever had. The best thing is that all the DLC is free. Yes, free. Adding new characters, weapons, equipment, maps, hazards, enemies, it's fantastic! And there's 4 difficulties to play through, with 11 waves each where you can earn money by completing objectives, and once done you can spend your money on equipment packs that unlock anything from characters to weapons and equipment, all with their own stats and abilities. The most recent DLC included 6 new characters, which included a Krogan with a massive hammer. However, it's all about teamwork and it is great fun. It's also very active online with weekend challenges to complete. Without a doubt, Mass Effect 3 is a must-own for anyone wanting a fun, intense survival game. Well, that's the end of my top 15 Horde/survival games. If there's any that you think I missed out, then let me know in the comments section. But as always, hope you enjoyed the video and thanks for watching.